Hello everybody, good morning and welcome to the United Stands. I'm Mark Goldbridge. Early one this morning after a heavy one last night, but big news coming in this morning from Fabrizio Romano involving Man United transfer news, and we're talking about Antony. Antony breaking. Real Betis are closing in on a deal to sign Antony from Manchester United. Final details of the agreement being discussed, a loan move until the end of the season, no option to buy clause currently included in club-to-club talks. Antony has opened the doors to the move as Betis want him, and Man United will also cover part of the salary. What are your thoughts on this? So basically, Antony is going to be leaving Manchester United before Casemiro, before Marcus Rashford. We're going to be paying some of his wages. We're not going to get a buyback clause. He's still under 25. I mean, my initial reaction to this is, and I'd be interested to read the comments, is, look, he must be bad. He must be really bad in training. We've seen what we've seen over the last 2 years with our own eyes. I know there's a bit of a cult for Antony out there, but the reality is I think that cult's having a laugh. I don't think they actually genuinely believe he's that good. He's become a bit of a meme. My strong feeling with Antony is that there is no issue with desire, passion, and wanting to play well for Manchester United. Maybe you could level that at some players over the years. But I think this is a quality issue, and there are question marks around other players around that. But I think with Antony, he's been here longer than certain players. We're into 2.5 years now. You compare him to even Mason Mount, 18 months. Rasmus Højlund, 18 months. Xerxes, 6 months. Any other player that fans seem to have issues with, Antony's been here for 2.5 years. I think when you hit that point and nothing's really changing, and I don't take moments, I don't take games. I mean, the miss against Southampton was incredible, but it's just a consistent theme. It's a technical thing. He's not good enough for the Premier League. I was very excited about this player when he came in from Ajax. I thought he was the most exciting player we made that summer. That's how highly I thought of him. He was a Brazilian international at that point. But it happens. Memphis was the same. You bring him in from PSV in the Eredivisie. He was absolutely tearing it up. That people should look and study at that season that Memphis had at PSV the year before he came to United. Everybody wanted him. It was unbelievable. Comes to the Premier League and can't replicate it really anywhere near. And Antony's had that problem as well. So I think it's that simple. But I think we need to cut our losses. Obviously, it's not going to work. And I think some people thought with Amrim coming in, it could work. But Amrim's had a look at him and gone, this is not a player that I'm going to utilise. And he probably looks at it and goes, you paid £80 million, you give him 200 grand a week. I mean, more fool you. So we're moving him on. And we're moving him on at a time when we're trying to move Rashford on, potentially trying to move Garnacho on. So that could be 2-3 wingers going in January. And you look at it, and I look at it, and I go, This is very, very, very reminiscent of a fire sale again, where you're just getting rid of people and you're looking at what's coming in the door. Now, look, you can say we're not getting a midfielder because Collier is like a new signing, but we've got no wingers. We haven't got any wingers we can go that's like a new signing. And wide people are very important in an Amrim system. In certain games for Sporting, he would play 4, 2 in behind the striker and 2 wide. That his wingers were very adaptable, but at the core they are wingers. We've really got Ahmad at the moment, and maybe Garnacho. Antony is obviously going. Rashford is on the way out. So I'm looking at this and I'm going, are we going to bring this lad in from Salzburg or not? Because we need numbers, not just quality, and they are very important in the system, as we've seen with Ahmad. Obviously he's a great individual player, but I think he also suits the system really well as well. But yeah, ultimately I don't think we're going to miss Antony. The deal itself, I mean, Real Betis, didn't they used to have a Brazilian player years ago? What was his name? The chat will know. I think we're talking maybe 25 years ago, certainly 20 years ago. There was a Brazilian, was it Denilson? Where did that name come from? You don't think you would get... I'm sure there was this next big thing Brazilian player, and everyone was wondering where he was going to go. And I'm sure he went to Betis. I think it was Denilson, and never really heard of him again. But anyway, I'm going to be Googling that in a minute. The money is... the money is a problem, but I'm not going to be critical of this deal in the sense that there'll be people saying there's no buyback clause, we're paying half of his wages. I can't moan like I did yesterday morning and then moan about this, because this is about cutting your losses. This is about taking the hit. And we have to do that. We're not going to get a buyback clause and somebody to cover Antony's wages. I mean, you can't on the one hand say ain't good enough and then expect someone to be giving 200 grand a week for him and committing to buying him for 35 million. It's not going to happen. We are starting at, who will take this player. Now, I was hopeful about Saudi, and Saudi might still be an option in the summer, but the fact that Betis will take him, hopefully he'll get a bit of game time, and if he does, it's a bit like Sancho, but maybe at a lower level, in the sense that I don't think Antony playing for Betis is going to get as much attention, but it will hopefully give him some game time. Maybe he scores a few goals, maybe he has a few good games, and maybe in the summer there is a commitment from 3 or 4 clubs that go, actually, yeah, we're willing to pay him 100 grand a week, and we will give you 20 million for him. And United might be in a position where they go, look, we're still going to make a loss on him, but it's a lesser loss than it was looking like. Or you loan him out for another year. I've said this before as well. We might end up loaning Antony for the next 2 years, because selling him now at a major loss against FFP and amortization, etc., quick maths, we paid 80 million for him, probably on a 5-year deal. So you're only removing around 15 million per year. And he's been here 2.5 years, so you've got to sell him for at least sort of 35 to go even. I think Man United might decide to loan him for the next 18 months and pay half his wages, because it's slightly cheaper and they don't lose out on FFP. Who knows? I mean, look, as I said yesterday, this whole FFP PSR chat to me is BS. You've got Man City buying players, giving out 9-year contracts. They broke the rules of FFP for 10 years, and that's a fact. They broke the rules of FFP for 10 years because the rules of FFP now, they would have broken them. At the time, those rules weren't in place. The rules were brought in because of Man City. They changed the rules because of what Man City were doing. And Man City obviously benefited from the fact that those rules weren't in place for 10 years. But those rules have been brought in because of the likes of Man City. Man United shouldn't be taking any notice of them, especially if Man City are going to get off with what they apparently did. So I just think this whole FFP PSR thing is like I said, it's the person outside the nightclub saying, I'm not going in because I'm not 18, and everyone else is walking in with fake IDs. Who's the real winner? You're going home for a pot noodle and a wank, and they're going in for a few drinks and a dance. Sometimes you've got to bend the rules to benefit, and I think United are trying to say, oh, we're playing by the rules, we're playing by the rules. I think other clubs like Chelsea, etc., have found ways to be competitive. I mean, I looked at Chelsea when Todd Boehly came in, and I thought, how are you going to spend money? You're not in a great position, and they spent $2 billion. So you can find ways if you want to, but if you're a club that hasn't got money, you can use it as an excuse to not find ways. And I think if we were owned by Qatar or Saudi or Elon Musk, I don't think we'd be sat there going FFP and PSR. I think you'd have frustrated billionaires who want to make Man United competitive and have the money to do it, and they'd be finding ways to do it. And that's something I think everybody should always hold in their head. When you listen to FFP and PSR excuses from Ineos and the Glazers, if we had a billionaire owner that wanted Man United to be competing with Real Madrid, they'd talk about FFP and PSR and their frustration with it, but they'd be obsessed with finding a way around it because they'd want to get their money in. What we get is, we're frustrated with it, but they're not trying to get their money in. We're still in debt. We haven't got any money. Anyway, Antony leaving, I think it's a good thing. I don't think he's good enough for Manchester United. Technically, I think it's the right thing to do. Get your comments in below. Make sure you smash a like and subscribe. We've got Kev coming up on the fan cam soon. We're also going to be starting from about midday, I think, because it's a 2 o'clock kickoff against Brighton, which I'm looking forward to. I'm going to get a shower, have a bit of a freshen up. Oh, on the video with Rasmus last night, I will say this. The amount of people that don't listen and put comments in is interesting. It's a democracy. But hold this thought. I've read so many comments that what I said doesn't make sense. Goal conversion rate, shots per game per striker has been crap at United for 7 years. It's got nothing to do with Rasmus Højlund or Xerxes or Martial or Cavani. It's a lack of service. You can talk about movement, you can talk about everything else, but I'll give you 2 things. Our manager said, when asked about this question, it's not an individual problem, it's a team problem. So the manager prompted that video because I looked into it and went, right, let's have a look at this team problem over the last 7 years, which I spelt out. So slag me off all you like, slag the player off all you like, but you're slagging off your manager. That's one thing, because he said it and he prompted the video. 2, Darwin Núñez at Liverpool doesn't get slagged off for years, scores 2 goals yesterday. Liverpool fans are better than you at backing their players. And 3, some of the abuse that Rasmus has got in that video is disgusting from so-called United fans. And 3, the people who are saying, you won't back Xerxes, but you're backing Rasmus. I don't know what channel you watch, but I've spent 6 months telling people to be patient with Xerxes. So I don't know where this, I want to get rid of Xerxes and sell Xerxes from. Amazing community, different opinions are fine, but I will come back against those opinions, and they're my 3 things. Amrim said it's a team problem, and he's right. The abuse against one individual player is really sad. And 3, where's the Xerxes hate or agenda from me when I've been saying for 6 months don't sell him and back new signings, it's too soon. So really, really volume of comments saying those 3 things. My response is that, don't really know what you're on about. Maybe listen to the video, because the video is actually about 7 years of a lack of service. And you can talk about movement and you can talk about hold-up play, but the reality is, tell me a Man United player in the last 7 years that puts a cross in the box regularly and looks to create player chances for our strikers. It doesn't happen. It hasn't happened, and that's why Amrim's talking about it. And I also said in the video, yes, we may well need a striker better than Rasmus, better than Xerxes, better than Martial. But we have had the likes of Cavani, and the service wasn't there in a team that was doing better than now. 1.9 shots per game for a striker is not good enough. It needs to be around 3, which is not far off being double. We need better creativity. And yes, we do need an experienced striker. So maybe listen to the video again without, this weird view. And as I said, I want Xerxes to start today. I want him to score a hat-trick today. I want him to do well at Man United. So I don't know where this whole Xerxes versus Rasmus thing has come from, but it's certainly not coming from me. I don't think it's coming from this community. But as usual, Player FC comes in and makes it about this player or that player, Pogba or Bruno, Rashford or Garnacho. It's such a weird, modern mentality. And we've got to fight against it, and we've got to hold our ground, because I'm not interested in that. Rasmus deserves to be on the bench today. Xerxes deserves to start. And I'll be the first one to say something if that doesn't happen. He deserves to start. He deserves his chance. But if he plays badly, I don't want to see the same people talking about Xerxes and how great he is, slagging him off. Because I can see people in the chat talking about how great Xerxes is. 3 weeks ago, they were sell him. Come on. We're United. Manchester United. We're trying to do better as a team, which is what Amrim's saying, which is why I think removing Antony is a good thing. Thanks everyone for watching. Get your comments in below. Looking forward to it. Speak to you all in a bit. And I'm really looking forward to this game because it's going to be a tough one today. Take care. Speak to you in a bit. I'm off for a shower.